Good morning, everyone. It is, what day is it? It is the 30th of June, Friday the 30th of June. It is about 11 o'clock in the morning, and today is the day. I'm on my way to Cork to drop off my car for its second and third service, although they might consider doing the third service later. I will ask them that. But anyway, it's about 7 months overdue on its second service. I just never bothered. It's been asking me to do a service since, I think it's October last year. So basically this car hasn't actually seen a dealer since, I think it was March last year, when there was the recall for the brake liners or something along that line. Anyhow, the one other thing they're also hopefully going to do, I've asked them to do it, but the guy said that he mightn't do it because it depends on whether or not he finds a problem, which I can somewhat understand, but I also know that it needs doing, is the battery management system update. My car is was built in August 2014, so it is approaching 3 years old. And I think it was earlier this year that Renault announced that there was a bug in certain versions of the battery management software that would report incorrect state of health, as well as have other basically characteristics like what I've been describing as taking a long time to get from 99% to 100. The range drops every once in a while, so the percentage drops after you finish charging. So the car says it's 99% or it's full, and you restart it and it's at 94-95%. Those kind of things. My car, I don't know today's value, but the last thing I've seen, it was at 83% state of health. It sort of was hopping around the 82-83%. Judging by what my range estimate said this morning, it's probably closer to 83. So I am hoping that the battery management update will be done and that it will restore my battery health to probably high 90s. Mid to high 90s. I'd be content with 95%, to be honest, because this car is currently at 72,145 kilometers, which is a lot. Not as it potentially a lot, but in those 72,145 kilometers, it has done some crazy stuff. Crazy long trips that most Zoe owners wouldn't do. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some extra wear and tear on the battery. I'm okay with that. Now, one of the side effects of this battery management system update that I suspect, and I want to try and verify, is that it alters the charging curve. So when I was going to Austria with Craig, his car had the battery management software update done, and what I noticed, or what I think I noticed, is that it slowed down quicker than my car when it reached 80%. It tapered off the charging speed quicker than mine does at the moment. I think this is related to the software, and my guess behind it is, it's a guess, it's not verified, maybe someone from Renault might be able to verify it, but I think they've adopted the charging, they're basically installing the same software across the range. So all Zoes over a certain, will be running the same software, should be running the same software. And the ZE40 has a different charging curve compared to the 22 kilowatt hour batteries because of the higher density and energy and more heat built up. So it needs to taper off a little quicker to try and counter that. Now, if that is true, the way I'm going to try and validate that is that I'm going to be, when I'm in Cork, my car will probably be at about 70% or so. I might do a bit more of a drive around just to drop the battery percentage down a bit. I'm going to do a charge at a 43 kilowatt hour charger if I can find a working one. and I'm going to measure the charging speed at certain percentages. I'm going to use 80%, 85%, 90%, 95%, and 99% as my benchmark. And then I am dropping my car off. I'm actually getting a ZE40 as a loan for about a week. Looking forward to that. More videos to come with that, but I'm probably going to keep it separated a bit because I've got too many things going on at the moment. I don't think one episode would be nice. I'll probably split it up over a few. But anyway, then after they're finished with their service and their software updates, if they do one, I'm going to repeat the process. So I'm going to do a charge at a 43 kilowatt hour charge point, and I'm going to repeat the same percentages. So I'm going to use 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, and 100. I'll probably start at 70, it's probably a better idea. Maybe 75. I don't think anything will happen before that. Yeah, probably 75 is probably better. And compare. And we'll see. Now, of course, there are other variables like battery temperature and all that kind of jazz. I'm aware of that, but like the day temperatures this time of year in Ireland here are about high teens, so it's currently 15 degrees. So I'm expecting the battery to be around 20, which is optimal battery temperature, really. So I'm not expecting the temperature element to be big. I'm not expecting the values to be identical either, but it'll give you a good idea on where it tapers off. It'll give you a rough idea. Actually, I think ZE does a charge curve. I might see if that works, because the charge curve might be easier to compare. Yeah. I'll see. I'll see which way I'm going to do it. But I want to try and compare it anyway. So then I'm going to pick up the ZE40 for about a week, which is going to be awesome. It is, from what I remember seeing other people who took the exact same car, it's an R90 engine, so it's 22 kilowatt charging only. The for and against debate, I'll probably do that in the ZE40 video. But I have my own opinion on it, and other people might agree or disagree. And I think I will speak to you guys when I actually am charging in Cork, somewhere. So I'm charging here in Frankfield. Now, it's an older DBT unit, and I always had the feeling it's a little on the slow side, and it actually only has 41.4 kilowatt available, generally about 44, so it's a little on the low side. Anyway, I'm currently at 73%. It is telling me that I have DC power into the battery of 29.7 kilowatt. My state of health is 84% according to this, by the way. It has gone up thanks to the warm weather. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to keep an eye on this now for the 75% and see what it's like. I do find it interesting that it says usable state of charge 73.2. It says 75 on my dash now. I think I'll go by usable state of charge probably rather than my display and see what the actual DC power is. It's ramping down pretty decent. Wonder why. Anyway, I'll have an experiment with this, and we will see what it says. So we're at 99% according to the display, and my screen here is telling me usable state of charge 97.3. It just goes to show the discrepancies. Interestingly though, the DC power is right down to 4.7 kilowatt hours, or kilowatt. Now, in all fairness, I did think it was a little slow at starting. It started charging, I think it was about 64%, so it wasn't very low. But it was only pulling around 30 kilowatt, and that dropped pretty quickly to about 22. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure whether how good this experiment was, in all fairness, but the normal triple standards that they have here in Ireland, the one that we have here in Cork, was broken. It was down for maintenance or something like that. It's having a software issue regularly. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect, call it a day, and go and pick up my loan car. Good morning, everybody. It is 8:10 on a pretty grey, it has to be said, Saturday morning, the 7th of July. As you may recognise, I am not driving my own Zoe. I am in fact driving a ZE40, which is new revision of the Zoe, currently for sale in Ireland. I have this car because my own car is in for a service, and I managed to actually ask them to give me this car to take for a wee bit of a spin. It is, I think you could probably describe it as a midlife revision. It is a more refined, it feels like a more refined version. I'll start with the differences between this car and my car. First of all, on the outside, it looks the same as mine, with the exception of the alloy wheels, but that's fine. And the differences on the outside you notice is the badges. The badges on this car are chrome, so are the grille surround. There's the grille surround. This has been the case on Zoe's builds probably since the mid-2015, because the blue badge on my car keeps peeling. Now, on the inside, the interior, while it looks the same, has been updated, primarily colour. Mine has a beige, I'd call it a beige colour. There's a bit of a beige colour there. And this one is all black. I kind of like it, to be honest. There's some small little changes. The seats, the stitching on the seats is different. I do think they are a bit firmer, but that could just be the fact that mine is 3 years old. The dashboard looks the same. The Arling, it looks the same. I have the feeling the resolution is a little bit higher, perhaps. It looks a bit brighter, a bit clearer. The doors, I don't know what you'd call it. The inside of the doors, the top of it is all, it's a fabric in the door now. The door feels a little bit more solid, which is nice. When you close the door, you get a nice clump rather than mine feels a bit hollow. Other than that, sorry to say, the glove box is still the same, and nothing changed there. The biggest change with this is the battery. This is a ZE40, the reason why it's called the ZE40 is because Renault has put a 41 kilowatt hour battery in the same shell of a car. Now, that is near enough double than what mine has. Mine has a 22 kilowatt battery. This one has a 41, so that's pretty much double. As a result, I should be able to do double the range, which is great. On the flip side, this car also has the R90 engine, which is limited to 22 kilowatt charging only. Mine has a Q engine, which makes it capable of charging at 43. Now, significance of that, because they've essentially doubled the battery, the R90 now takes 2 hours to charge to full, probably more, probably 2 hours and 20, to charge to full on a standard 22 kilowatt charger here in Ireland that I love so very, very much on mine. But significantly along the motorways, if you're doing a long journey, it also increases your charge time to approximately 2 hours for a full charge, because of the fact that you are limited to 22 kilowatt charging. Now, there is still a Q engine available, but as far as I'm aware, they don't have any of them in Ireland at the moment, so I was unable to test that. I've yet to be able to find the price for the upgrade from the R engine to the Q engine, and Renault have a strong feeling that with the range that this car has, which is approximately 300 kilometers of actual real-line range, you do not need the Q engine. My personal gut feel of it is I wouldn't buy a Renault Zoe personally without a Q engine. My main reason for that is that whilst I would love the battery, don't get me wrong, I would love the battery, dropping the charging speed makes this car pretty much a city car. Yes and no. You can do a 300 kilometer journey if your destination is 300 kilometers away. Go for a 300 kilometer journey, plug in the car for 2 hours in the bin, drive back. That is probably more than what most people would drive on a regular basis. But if you're like me and you love doing European road trips, this R engine is not for you. Does it have a market? Yes it does. Because as a second car or as the primary car of somebody who is not going to do a hell of a lot of driving, this car is perfect. Genuine. My overall feel is I love it. It feels solid. It really feels like a solid car. Now, that's probably a slight improvement on the manufacturing process, maybe, or it's just because my car is 3 years old. What else does this car have? So this is the dynamic nav trim, which is the middle of the range. Renault still has 3 trim levels available here in Ireland, which is the Expression, the entry model, and then there's the dynamic nav, this one, and then there is the new Signature Edition. Now the Signature Edition looks really good. I had the pleasure of meeting one up close in Austria. It looks really good. Heated leather seats, a heated steering wheel, Bose sound system, really nice. But this is the dynamic nav, which is pretty much the same car as I drive. It is the same car. What is new on this car is that it is blue, which I adore. I adore the blue color. And the alloys are slightly different, which are starting to grow on me, to be fair. It still has 16-inch alloys, it still has the same 16-inch tires, it has a reversing camera, reversing sensors, just like mine. Everything else is the same. So that is my opinion on the car interior and trim-wise. Now follows a little bit of a controversial segment about price. Renault Ireland have decided to sell this car without a battery lease. Whenever people talk about my car, their battery lease always ends up coming up. Now, I have personally no problem in actually paying a battery lease. It made my car probably 5,000-6,000 euro cheaper to buy. And I currently have spent less than 3,000 euro on the battery lease. Now, this car on the road is about 28,000 euro, which sounds like a lot of money to me for a car that is about Clio size, when the most expensive Clio is probably around 20,000, maybe 23. What is the argument for going electric? Whilst I would love to claim ecological reasons and all that kind of stuff, for a majority of the people, the main incentive is price and running costs. This car is ridiculously cheap to run. Now, if you're marketing a car at 28,000, it's pretty expensive when you can buy a diesel car for probably 10,000 euro less. Bit of a price difference. Now, if they had left the battery lease in place, this car would probably be closer to 20,000. That is more attractive. The other thing you have to keep in mind is that in Ireland, the main seller, although it's starting to change, is the Nissan Leaf. The Nissan Leaf, 30 kilowatt hour with leather seats and all that kind of stuff, is only about €100 more expensive. Oh, sorry, 1,000 euros, not 100. That again is it's too much of a gap. So whilst I like the idea of owning this car with the battery included, while I love the larger battery, I do wonder, have they made it too expensive? But time will tell, and I will gladly be proven wrong. So, what am I doing at 8:20 in the morning on a Saturday? Well, I am going to try and put this car's range to the test. I have planned myself a little journey to Dingle, County Kerry, where I'm going to be doing Sleigh Head, which is the tip of the Dingle Peninsula. Beautiful, beautiful scenic drive. And I'm going to be driving back to Mallow after that. The reason for that is that it's approximately 300 kilometers, which is what they say the range of this car is. Now, I am going to, because I don't trust myself that I'll actually be able to do it, I am going to be driving a little bit more slower than normal, which is, I'm probably going to limit myself to about 80 kilometers an hour. Good thing that most of the roads I'll be driving on are 80 kilometer an hour roads, so I won't be holding anyone up. But 300 kilometers, when I do the math, should be doable, but it's going to be a little close, and I don't have a heck of a lot of chargers along the way should things go wrong. So, as a result, I might chicken out and do a top-up charge on the way back just to make sure that I do not run out, and I'll use the trip meter to see what my totals are and would I have made it on a 41 kilowatt hour charge if I feel that I will not be able to actually do it without actually charging. In all fairness, 300 kilometers is probably going to take me about 4 to 5 hours. 4 hours probably. Would I want to drive 4 hours without stopping? Hell no. Hell no. My bladder wouldn't reach, so I am going to have to stop. Meaning that if I can charge there, I probably should charge there. Anyway, I will talk to you guys in Dingle, which is 100 kilometers away from here, and I will let you know what my totals are. When I left my house, the car said I could do 284 kilometers, which is 16 kilometers short. Right, hello from Castlemaine. I am just about to turn onto the Dingle Peninsula, and I'm now on my way. Well, the first stop I'm going to be making will be Inchstrand. This is just nice. Might take some nice photos of this car. The one thing that is concerning me at the moment is that I'm driving towards what I can only describe as completely black clouds. So no doubt it's going to pour. The wind has also not been my friend. However, range-wise, we're pretty much on target. I'm currently showing a 214 kilometer range, and I have driven, what is it? Come on. I have driven 85 kilometers, so that would mean I am on target for 300 kilometers, just. Yeah. Anyway, I really hope the weather is gonna stay with me. So here we are in Dingle, at the Dingle charger, not plugged in, I might add. So, 126.4 kilometers driven, and my car here is showing 168 left, so doing some quick maths, I'm probably about 10 kilometers short of my 300 kilometer goal. That's a bit disappointing to say the least, but as you might be able to tell from behind me, the heavens have opened. The weather is pretty damn miserable. Now, that of course is not going to help me. Yeah, so I'm a bit disappointed about that. I'm not entirely sure what to do now. I'm going to do sleigh head anyway, even though I probably won't be able to see anything. Or I might take a tiny bit of a different detour. Anyway, first things first, I have to find a bathroom. Found a bathroom, but it's genuinely bad out there weather-wise. Anyhow, I'll go do sleigh head drive. Come back here and I'll have a think about what direction I'm going to take back. The weather was good. I was going to go over Connor Pass just for the scenic purposes, but this kind of weather, I don't know. Let's go do sleigh head drive. And sleigh head, beautiful scenic drive, can you tell? Now, and sleigh head is now over. I've done 181 kilometers. I have 116 left, so that means I'm on target to do 297 kilometers in a charge. However, it is 127 kilometers to Mallow, which leaves me at a bit of a quandary. Now, I'm gonna charge up here for about 5, maybe 10 minutes, just so that I won't get stuck, because this is the only charge point between here and home, unless I take a different route. Now, I'm still hopeful that I'll make 300 kilometers on 41 kilowatt hour consumption. I've saved 1 kilowatt hour so far, so I've only actually used 23, which is pretty damn good, to be honest. So I'm going to plug in here. Bathroom, home. So just plugged in 39%. So 44%, and I'm disconnecting. Okay, 124 kilometers to the charging station in Mallow, County Cork. 132 kilometers estimate range. I think just to be sure, I'll just top up for another 10 minutes or so, just another 5%. So I'll have added 10% onto the battery, just so that I know I can get home. Right, 49%, so I've added 10% onto the battery, disconnecting, and I'm driving home. Finally, just about to leave Dingle. Oh my god, tourist season. Anyway, it's saying 124 kilometers to home. I've driven 181, so that would make 305 kilometers. And as long as I arrive at the charger with 10% left, I will have done more than 300 kilometers in a charge, which is the goal of today's exercise. It is such a shame the weather actually is it's so closed in. It's dry now at the moment, but it was very dull and grey, and there was even some fog out at Sleigh Head. It's very unfortunate, but look, you can't control the weather. I only have this car until Tuesday, so today, and we're busy. I'm busy tomorrow, so today was genuinely the only day I was able to do this. Them are the breaks, I guess. So I should be home, or at least in Mallow, in another probably about 2 hours, and I will keep you guys updated along the way. So I'm about 57 kilometers from Mallow, according to the old sat-nav. Just in case people are wondering if I'm cheating, if I'm taking an eco route or anything like that, I have literally just put, when I left my house this morning, I put in Dingle in the sat-nav, fastest route, bang. And I'm doing the same thing coming back. Now, the thing is that the extra 10% that I put in Dingle is probably going to be for the best, because I don't think I would have made it without that 10%. I've got about a 12-14 kilometer difference between my estimate range, which is pretty damn accurate so far. I love the actual range, the new range estimates. And I'm really hoping that when my car comes back from the service, they will have done the BMS update, because this particular range estimate is just brilliant. Anyhow, the second half of the next 50 kilometers or so, a lot of that is going to be pretty hilly, a combination of sort of, obviously uphill and downhill, but mostly downhill when we're coming towards Mallow. Now, just in case people are wondering if I'm cheating, I can't really turn you around, but the sat-nav pretty much wants it to go down. Just unplug you here. That road. I don't think so somehow. That was fun. There was quite literally about 30-40 meters down the road, that was the end of the road. A normal left turn and a normal right turn, rather than going through what can only be described as a country road. Not really, no, it's a dirt track. Okay, I don't know why these kind of roads are on the sat-nav. So when you drive in Ireland, as I've said many times before, when you drive in Ireland on sat-nav, perhaps in other countries as well, be prepared to see some scenic roads. 25 kilometers from my destination, even the sat-nav now thinks that I can make it, which is encouraging. 44 kilometers left on my range, 25 kilometers to my destination, so yes, that should be good. Now the question is, when I get there, will I have more than 10% left when I plug in at the train station? Wait for a minute and find out. There we go, 300 kilometer range. No real major issue. Now I made it to the charger in Mallow. So now the question is, will I have more than 10% left? Let's find out. One thing I do want to show first. Notice the small little shiver of power that's left. I would have been in alarm range by now. Now my alarm range is 12% on a 22 kilowatts. So I'm going to assume alarm range on this one is probably closer to 6. Given that, 12% of 22 is smaller than 12% of 41. So, but let's plug in and find out where we're at. 8%. Darn, I didn't make it in one charge. Oh well, at least the 10% that I put in didn't actually get me stranded. Pretty darn close though, 2% of a difference. That's not bad. Now 25% should do me for the rest of the afternoon. And of course I can always charge it at home, although I'm a cheapskate and 40 kilowatt is a large battery. That's not bad, isn't it? 338 kilometer estimate range. I'm inclined to sort of somewhat believe that, but I won't be driving anywhere far for that long at that speed for a long time. Hello everyone. I'm still in the ZE40. It is Tuesday, so 2 days, that's 3 days even. 3 days after I spoke to you last, I have done a good few hundred kilometers in this car now, 535 to be precise. And I just wanted to do a quick little video of what I've found in the last few days. Overall impressions on this car, it's very solid. The refinement is really, really good, and it's a noticeable improvement over my car. Not that my car was bad to begin with, but it's a noticeable improvement. One of the funny little improvements, this is one of the things that had bugged me for a long time, is that the ZE voice appears to also be on when you're in reverse. In my car it isn't. It only goes on when you're going forward, which is kind of, a bit strange, because it's usually when you're going backwards that you need some noise. Other than that, the range is very solid. It's the consumption is no different to my own. Let me just quickly bring up what I'm currently driving. I've driven 165 kilometers since I came back home on Saturday. My consumption is 15.2, which is what I get average over here anyway. The difference is that it's still showing approximately 280 kilometers worth of range. On a total charge. I've got 165.5 driven, and it's 117 showing. So you're still looking at city driving at least 280 in the summer, which is brilliant compared to what I get on mine. But it is actually exactly what you'd expect if you double the fuel tank and you don't change much else to the car. So it's a pretty consistent package. I love the new interior. It's not that the quality is any different, but the actual color scheme does make a difference. The seats, I find, now this could just be wear and tear on mine. I have a feeling that the seats are a little firmer, but that could be, like I said, just wear and tear. Other than that, I'm very, very impressed. Would I buy one? Yes, I would. Would I consider a used Zoe good value for money? Yes, I would. Now, the differences between the two is obviously that here in Ireland, at least, you have a battery lease on the older ones and no battery lease on the newer ones. So that's something to take into consideration. But it should make the price of a used Zoe that much cheaper. The old purchase price. And other than that, it is an absolute joy to drive. The alloys are growing on me. I wasn't too fond of them when I initially saw them, but they're growing on me, and this color is brilliant. This and the new red, they're definitely my favorite colors now. Other than that, R-Link is the same. Like I said, it appears to be a little bit faster, which is what you'd expect. The rear view camera comes on quicker, which is nice. The resolution of the rear view camera seems to be a bit better, which is something you could also expect. It would be an easy improvement for them to do with present day technologies. And other than that, it's just a joy to drive. I'll be sad to see this one go. I'd love to actually get my hands on a Q90 and do a proper long distance trip. So I might do that later in the year if the car dealer has a Q90 in stock. I might see if I can get my hands on it and do a long distance trip to see the difference, a proper comparison what a larger fuel tank will mean. Because pretty much if you swap the battery out in my car for this particular battery, you pretty much have a Q90 with I do believe the Q90 has a battery heater in it, and I think the R90 does as well. That they have a battery heater, which of course if you were to upgrade your battery you wouldn't have, because you wouldn't have the connection. But other than that, it'd be a pretty similar car. So yeah. My car will hopefully be finished with its service this afternoon, and I'll be picking it up, and I'll be hopefully back to a lovely well-maintained car. So it is Wednesday, and I'm finally dropping the car back. I couldn't drop it back yesterday when I last spoke to you. So it is 20 past 4, and I'm due to arrive at the dealer shortly before 5, traffic depending, and no doubt traffic will be heavy. Right, so I dropped the car off at the train station this morning and sort of left it charged. Now I don't know exactly how long it took, but it was 2 hours and 25 minutes is what the display said. Jesus, sorry. Basically, this car charged to full at a 22 kilowatt point in less than 2 hours, which is what you'd expect. It started at 24%. I mean, my car sort of takes around an hour and 10. So yeah, you'd expect it to take about double that. Which it actually brings me back to my original point of: do you require a faster charging engine? I'm between two minds about it, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but for me personally, yes would be the answer. Because it's my only car. I like doing international road trips, and in general I like doing road trips. If this car, if all it would do is drive around Ireland, commute, go visit Granny up in Galway, that kind of stuff, you probably wouldn't need it, because with the Irish network the way it is at the moment, the majority of the chargers are 22 kilowatts, so this car won't charge any faster than 22 kilowatts most of the time. It's only along the motorways up towards Dublin that you'll actually find 43 kilowatts. They're still pretty rare. There's not a heck of a lot of them around. So most of the time you're actually charging up to 22 kilowatts. Considering you can drive from my house in Mallow to Dublin without stopping, or without, with relative ease of maybe even just a short stop, I don't think you need it for the Dublin trip. As for, say, driving up to the likes of Galway, again, you can drive from my house up to Galway without stopping, grab a 22 kilowatt charger there, go about your business, and an hour or two later you're finished. It's only when you're going really long distance, as in more than 400 kilometers in a day, would you start thinking about using a fast charger. Now, that depends, of course, on your driving pattern and all that kind of stuff. There's definitely a market for a car like this, because most people I know have an electric car and will have a second normal car next to it. For the longer trips, they don't go to Europe doing European road trips. Most of them don't even sort of go out of their way for anything. They sort of drive from their house to the airport and fly the rest, and then rent a car on the other side to drive. So no, I can see the point of having a 22 kilowatt charger. However, like I said, personally, no, because I love the idea, and it's a shame I can't test it out, that I can drive from here, from my house to Dublin, charge up for 65 minutes to 80%, and then drive on to Belfast. Like, that's just brilliant, the idea of that. And I would love to get a 41 kilowatt hour battery in my car, but so far no prices in Ireland, and no actual sign of it happening just yet. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really. But I wouldn't have the money for it anyway, and I've said this to other people before in Renault, that I wouldn't have bought my car if I thought that the 22 kilowatt battery would be a barrier. And the same goes for economic driving. Someone said to me that, but at least with the 41 kilowatt hour battery you don't have to worry about economic driving. I don't worry about economic driving. I only drive economical when I have to. And the vast majority of my journeys, I don't have to drive economical, because I'll have plenty of charge to get to a 43 kilowatt charger or to my destination. So there's no point in driving economical, because, you're going to charge up anyway. Electricity is cheaper, in most cases free, to public charging. So why would you drive economical? Anyway, this brings to the end my time with the Renault ZE40 for at least the next couple of years. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I might see if they have one in stock in the next couple of months to get my hands on a Q9P and do some longer distance driving than just to Dingle back, and do some charges along the way and see if it actually makes a difference having a larger fuel tank. Good morning. I'm back in my own Zoe. It is the day after the night before, to use a classic. I picked up my own car yesterday. Didn't have time to film because I had all sorts of little errands to run. Service is done. One of the most obvious things that it has done is what I just shown you. They've done the battery management system update. Delighted with that. Had a look at my state of health. So as you know, I did a little bit of a test of charging speeds before I handed it in. I don't think it'll be a good test because the charge point I wanted to use wasn't working, and the one that I did use, I've never had the feeling it was fast, so it probably wasn't the best test to do. But that's fine. I don't really mind. What I do mind is that at the time when I was doing the test, my state of health was the battery state of health, not mine. The battery state of health was 84%. When I got the car back yesterday, I had a look, and lo and behold, my state of health on the battery is now 98%. So I plugged it in last night and had a quick peek there just before I started filming, and I think it was something like 19.8 kilowatt hours available in the battery. This morning it was 22.4. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference. That's about 2.5 kilowatt hours worth of a difference in the available energy. And pretty much my battery capacity has gone up by roughly, what is it? 2.5 kilo. That's about 15%. That's huge. Huge. Well, it is after, it's nearly 3 years now that I've had my car. Well, more importantly, my car is now saying 132 kilometers after a full charge, where it used to say about 112. So that's a 20 kilowatts or 20 kilometer of a difference. It is 7:45 in the morning. I'm not awake. That's a 20 kilometer difference in the range estimate. Not just that, but it actually, the guessometer is now updated, similar to what Craig's car was in the Salzburg video. So I'm expecting the behavior of the range estimate to be completely different. What I might try there now, whilst I'm sitting here, is do the trick reset, as in hold the, yes, there we go. So we hold both pedals down and you reset trip B. Oh, wow. Okay, have a look at this. 203 kilometers. That used to say, again, about 180. That's a big difference. It won't do 203 kilometers, but it shows what is theoretically possible. I'm back to basically having a factory fresh car. The other thing that they've also done is, and I'll probably go outside to have to show you. The badges are now chrome. So is the grille surround. And the badge at the back. Now they haven't done the Zoe lettering, and as you can see, it's starting to peel here as well. So I'm guessing for the next service, I'm gonna ask them to do that. Some people have taken the word Zoe off, but I kind of like it. So I'm probably gonna ask them to replace that. Very, very happy. So, some of the other things that I asked them to do, I'm not sure if they entirely did that. I have a panel in the passenger footwell. Because I'm driving, I can't actually show you. I might take a picture and overlay it here. One of the panels in the passenger footwell kept coming loose. They reattached it, but I'm not entirely sure whether it'll stay up. That's kind of been there or sort of out of alignment since they did the dashboard replacement a few years back now. I've never really bothered, and I'm not too bothered about this now either, but one of the other things that as a result of the bad Irish roads is that other panels in the car are starting to, rattle, which you'd expect. I mean, the car has done 72,000 kilometers now, and the road surface in Ireland, as you can tell by the noise of the roads, is not exactly good. So every single car I've had is slowly being rattled to pieces. This one is no different, really. It does not bother me as such too much, because I'm used to road noise anyway, but this car is so much quieter than others I've had, simply because it's electric. As other electric car drivers will be able to testify, is that electric cars are quiet. Anyway. Other things I'm noticing is that they appear to have rotated the tires. I just had a quick peek at the alloys. Yes, they've rotated the tires, which is part of the service. Since it has been 2 years, 7 months, and about the second service was a little bit on the late side, so I have now an option. As part of the service, the third service, the 12-volt battery needs replacing. Now, my 12-volt battery is not bad. It is functioning perfectly fine. There are no problems. So I'm probably not going to bother replacing it pretty much until the third service is due, or until the car tells me the third service is due, which will be this time next year. I don't see the point in going in and doing a 12-volt replacement, then going back 6 months later and doing the full service and paying for labour twice, because they will. So, yeah. But anyway, I got my old Zoe back. Absolutely delighted. And I think I'm calling it a day for this, probably a little bit on the boring side episode. I can't really say that I'm doing anything exciting the next while with regards to the Zoe. I do have something nice coming up next week. I'm not going to say anything just yet. You'll have to wait and see. It's not related to a Zoe, but it is related to an electric car. Other than that, in about 2 months, I will be driving to Holland for the third time. So that will probably be the next big video. If I have anything exciting, as usual, I will film it. I'm not sure if I can get to go on any longer trips. There was talk, my wife was talking about wanting to go back to Enniskillen for some shopping, so we might do that. And I might have a peek then and see what the car behaves like on longer distances, specifically with the new range estimate, and see how accurate that range estimate is. But for now, it's back to work for me, and I think I'll leave it for this particular episode. So, thank you kindly for watching, and we will see you all again soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, the usual. Bye now.